Have you ever wondered how to bend someone's reality? How to make their belief transform into what you believe by your actions, and therefore not compromise on what it is that you believe? Well, in today's video, I will be explaining exactly how to do that, and later in this video, I will be giving you a conclusive 6-step strategy to bend someone else's reality. Now, see, a compromise is oftentimes a bad deal. Imagine this. You and your wife have this event that you both are going to. You have opted for the decision to, or rather the choice to wear your black suit, but your wife instead wants you to wear the blue suit, so you compromise and you end up going with the blue pants and the black blazer. Now, if you were to hazard a guess, do you think this is the best outcome? No, of course not. In this case, either would have been better. The black suit, the black blazer with the black pants, or the blue blazer with the blue pants would have been better than to compromise and wear the black blazer with the blue pants. But in the cultural, hypnotic, societal mechanism that we live in today, we've been brainwashed into believing that compromise is the best inevitable outcome that we should all strive for. And each and every one of us have been programmed by this to believe that this is this amazing thing. Compromise is this amazing thing that we should all do and that we should all have. But actually, the fact of the matter is that we are too lazy and oftentimes too afraid to let go or to think of solutions to get to a better outcome. Therefore, learn to embrace difficulty, because life is difficult. This is a fact. M. Scott Peck writes in his book that life is difficult, but once we accept it, the fact that life is difficult becomes obsolete. We can find ways to work around it. Therefore, learn to embrace the difficult stuff, because that's where the best deals are. All great negotiators and successful people know this. So apply delayed gratification to your life, acceptance of your responsibility, and dedicate yourself to the truth. The reason patience is a virtue is because when people get confronted by a deadline, they become anxious and jumpy and tend to want to do things as soon as possible, even now, as the deadline approaches. This can be applied to imaginary deadlines as well. Great negotiators, although, force themselves to resist this human nature, the urge to act, and rather take advantage of it in others, all to get the best deal. Because they realize that time is infinitely valuable, and many people have this absolutely ridiculous notion that time equals money. That is why you have so many people slaving away 8 hours in a 9-to-5 job to work for money. Many people might believe themselves as the better party, as the people who have no need of money or aren't in need of money, but they work 8 hours every single day of their lives for a little bit of money, and they exchange their time for money. But successful people, great negotiators, successful business people, and the people who are actually headed somewhere in their life realize that time is not money. And inevitably, we all come to this realization because it is inherent in us. If I were to offer you $1 million, $1 million, £1 million, whatever, right now, most of you would take it. Except if I said that you needed to die tomorrow. How many of you would take that offer then? See, because inherently we all know that time is more valuable than money. And the inverse is also true. Say if you had an incurable disease, but you had $1 million in the safe somewheres. The doctors say that this medicine that we are going to offer you now does work 100% of the times. If you don't take it, you will die. But it costs $1 million and there is no insurance, there's nothing you can do to lighten the load. You will spend all of the money that you have in that safe somewhere to save your own life. And this is a fact. These 2 points will make anyone who believes them terrifyingly effective. Time is infinitely valuable, and deadlines are imaginary. At negotiating to obtain what they desire. In any negotiation, for example, a car deal, near the end of the month, average salespeople will throw out their best deals. Corporate salespeople every quarterly, so be patient till the end of the month or quarter, depending on when the sales representative's commissions will be assessed. So those are the deadlines that they are confronted with. Car deals at the end of the month, and business salespeople every end of the quarter, they will be confronted with this deadline because they're getting their commission. So go make them an offer in that time slot, in that time period, and you will get the best offers that you possibly can. A natural follow-up to this realization that deadlines are imaginary and can be used as a weapon makes many people have the following thoughts. Okay, if deadlines can be so detrimental, I should probably hide mine. And many people would believe exactly the same as you do then. And you would be in the majority of people who end up running with this false notion, this false belief, and ruining any and all advantage that you might have by actually throwing out a deadline. Because deadlines are imaginary. Hiding deadlines put a negotiator in the worst possible situation because it gives the other side a false idea, a false notion of there is infinite room for negotiation. It doesn't put a concrete, conclusive wall to where the negotiations need to be focused or centered around. In the same way, people perceive fairness to be a desired outcome. And although life is not fair, many people desire it to be fair, and desire to believe that it is fair, and desire to believe that in most aspects they can make it fair. Because most people don't want to think, as thinking is the hardest work, most people never do. They would much rather allow their emotional drivers to take command. They then end up getting the worst outcome instead of the best 90% of the time. So, the word fair can be a powerful secret weapon to negotiators because of human nature. We just want what's fair is the positive use for the F word. We just want what's fair in any negotiation. If you were to negotiate with people who seem like they are very rigid and don't want to really give you the breathing room that you desire, throwing out the we just want what's fair into the negotiation will place both sides at a better, more positive, fluent state. If you're on the wrong side of this nefarious, we've given you a fair offer, manipulative F word, do the following. Mirror the F word. Fair, you'd respond. Then label. It seems like you are ready to provide the evidence to support that claim. And then you move on with a silence of about 4 seconds to allow the other person to have this sink in, and they will naturally provide their word jumble to fill in the gap, to fill in the silence. And allow you to stand in a better position to negotiate. The last use of the F word is positive and constructive. It sets you up as an honest, good-willed person, and a basic example would look like this. I want you to feel like you are being treated fairly at all times. So please stop me at any time if you feel like I'm being unfair, and we'll address it. Therefore, make yourself acutely familiar with emotional drivers driving human beings to allow you to bend their reality. An offer that would otherwise be considered an insult to a glorious victory. Now, how do we bend someone's reality? Well, first of all, to bend someone's reality, you'll have to start with the basics of empathy. Start with an accusation audit to acknowledge all of their fears, to acknowledge all of the points where they may seem like they're being put at a disadvantage. By preparing the other side for a loss, you inflame their loss aversion and will make them jump at the opportunity to avoid it. Place yourself in the other person's perspective. Target their wants, needs, and desires. So number one, anchor their emotions. Ask the other person or find a way for the other person's offer to be thrown out first when you're dealing with monetary negotiations. But beware, prepare yourself mentally for the first offer. If you're dealing with a professional, oftentimes they will throw out an extreme anchor to get you or to bend your reality, to get you shaken up and to allow them to have the upper hand. So number two, let the other person go first 90% of the time. Now this will not always be the case. Sometimes you will have the opportunity to go first, but 90% of the time, let the other person go first. Next one way making the first offer or seeming to do so is by alluding to a range. If you have to name your price, counter by recalling a similar range you'd like to find yourself in. So instead of saying you are worth 100,000, recall a company, although not in the same field. For example, XYZ company pay their employees in this field 150 to 200,000 to establish a range. Instead of saying that you are worth 100,000, 150,000 will seem cheap when compared to the 200,000. So number three will be establish the range. For one of the easiest ways to bend your counterpart's reality to your point of view is to pivot to non-monetary terms. If you've anchored them high, you could make the offer seem reasonable by offering things that could be important to them, but not as important to you. If they, although have offered you a low offer, then you could ask them for things that might not be as important to them, but that you would find invaluable. All numbers have a psychological significance. Like numbers ending in a 0 tend to end up feeling like temporary placeholders that can be negotiated off of. So if you do want to throw out numbers like 39,348, because they will feel concrete, immovable, and calculated, as if you've, by some measure, come to this conclusive number for the deal or the offer that you want, and that it takes into account all of the things that you need to take care of. So number 5, when you do talk numbers, use odd ones. 6, surprise with a gift. We all love gifts. And if given a gift, we end up feeling more generous. The same can be applied to an offer. Stake an extreme anchor, and after the initial first rejection, offer a wholly unrelated surprise gift. This will invoke the law of reciprocity or reciprocation, as many of us human beings tend to not want to be indebted to someone else. So give someone a gift. If you desire to be more influential, to keep the riches that you've worked extremely hard for, and to know what it is and what it means to keep your enemies close, but also unable to hurt or harm you in any way, shape, or form, then I highly suggest you subscribe, hit that like button, all the good YouTube stuff, and follow me as I will be diving deeper and deeper into the psychology of how we can be more influential. Thank you so much for watching the video and the videos that I have posted previously, and share this video with those who you might think can benefit from it. Till next time, be blessed by the best, and I'll see you all in my next video. Cheers, guys.